I came from a family that was very hardworking. I was one of 10 children. My parents never had a lot of money, but I think they instilled in all of us the value of hard work. What attracts me and excites me about entrepreneurship is that potential for taking a dream or a passion and turning it into a business where if they work really hard, they can be a success and they can reach their entrepreneurial goals.
I graduated for the first time in 2009, so you can imagine how that probably went with the financial crisis and everything like that. There was no work in my field available, so I had always had a skill set in working on computers, and so I leaned on that real heavily. When I came out of college and needed to work, I said, well, I'm going to fix computers for a living. And I had jobs here and there, doing that part-time for different companies and things like that, but I always supplemented that, or in some cases completely replaced it with work from my own business. So it was interesting. It wasn't really what I was trained to do at all, but it was a skill I had and I made it work.
I think more importantly is experience. I mean, if you've worked for a human resource company for 20 years, the experience that you have to offer your clients as you start your own company is more valuable than if you come fresh out of college with a degree in human resources and you want to open up your own business. There's no way to duplicate years of experience working in an industry.
So our primary demographic when we started was women, to serve women who wanted to start or grow their business. And then that kind of evolved into serving both men and women. Right now, we're 65% of our clients are still women or minorities, women and then minorities, but anyone who walks through the door, Wes will help. So that makes our demographic pretty rich and robust and different.
I think there's a lot to be learned in failure. There's a lot of research that shows that. There are a lot of events that happen across the city to really encourage entrepreneurs to learn that failure is part of the process. And I think that's the only way that you can learn deep lessons sometimes, unfortunately. I think the unfortunate part is that we stigmatize failure in our culture in some ways. And if we just choose a different word rather than failure, maybe it's just that option just didn't work. So I'm going to try a different option.
I frequently say just because you have a great idea doesn't necessarily mean it's going to make a great business. One of the biggest mistakes that I've seen is that people sometimes do not do the work they need to do to try and determine whether that business is going to make them any money.
Making that transition, you're not going to pay attention to your business financials, which is one of the most important things, one of the really keys to success for a small business, if you haven't ever looked at that in your personal life. So you're not going to be someone who has never had a personal budget or never had an idea of what your personal cash flow is. You're not going to transition that into your small business. So it's really trying to understand that it's the same, that it kind of is going to mirror what you're doing in your small business. Your habits and your personality around money is going to really transition over to that. So.
Rewards and consequences of entrepreneurship. Reward is probably that you'll build something that you could be more proud of than any career or any job or piece of education that you could ever hope to achieve. The challenge is that it is the hardest you'll ever work. It's the most frustrating thing you'll ever do, by and large. It's expensive, it's heartbreaking, it's stressful, it never goes away, but it's totally worth it.
It's great to see that folks have in a sense, awakened to the fact that it truly is small businesses that drive this economy, and therefore it only makes sense that support organizations like West and many others do whatever they can do to help build strong local businesses.
and the stakes are massive. I mean, and the rate of failure is huge. So it's incredibly intimidating. And unfortunately, a lot of people do fail, but the ones who succeed, I mean, they can't see doing anything else.